Well, it's that time of year again, which reminds me, I've been thinking a lot about games, and I wonder, can 31 horror games be found? On the 31st of October, 31 games on 31 systems? Horror! But first, we need to talk about Dracula. It would be very easy in a compilation like this to just play every Dracula game ever made, of which there are many iterations. Dracula for the Game Gear, Dracula for the Mega Drive, Dracula for the Game Boy, Dracula for the Master System, Dracula for the Mega CD, Dracula for the SNES. So I offer you minimal Dracula in this video. I'm going to need the full range of my consoles and emulation devices, and at 3:31 PM I need to get serious. An interactive text story with accompanying images which apparently feature well-known Japanese pop stars. I cannot see myself doing too well in this, as I was unable to find an English translation. Quick research on the interweb details that this promises to be a story of slow horror sneaking into a Japanese school, but at present it seems to be a very pleasant, tinkly little adventure where I get to meet these Japanese pop stars in what seems to be a school bus, where everyone is smiling at me, all interspersed with some majestic hill scenes with a light dashing of snow. The incredibly small sized screen does make it very difficult to make out exactly how things are going, but everyone is definitely smiling. No idea why this game is called Cotton, highly confusing. Enjoyable fluff as a witch who shoots things on a nice little handheld. Nothing too taxing, just move and shoot, and enjoy the colourful backgrounds as you make progress at a light and comfortable pace. Not sure I'm going to have fantastic dreams after this. Why on earth is there an Amiga workbench loading icon? I'm loading a Game Boy Advance game. Buffy never came out on the Amiga. Well, this is a confusing start. THQ is not always a good sign, as they have produced some of the most dreadful movie tie-in games known to man. Going to watch my Buffy DVD later to continue the mood. I always want to have an easy setting on my games. I'm too old to be getting into normal and hard difficulty levels. There's not enough time for that. Here we are, Buffy, and I'm slaying. Got some pretty decent movement on this character. And yes, I've broken a crate. And this looks like my first zombie man. Ah, there we go. I foolishly forgot that Nintendo's Wonder Beast had 4 buttons at its disposal, so I can see a cheeky jump has been secretly placed on the trigger button. This bloke just will not die, no matter how often I keep punching and kicking him. Well, I guess he's undead, but then surely I should still be able to slay him like the title suggests. A double jump. Things are getting exciting. Come on, take that. It's quite enjoyable this, controlling a little Buffy. A port from the Sony PlayStation Classic. This game looks good, but on a casual revisit it turns out that this is not as enjoyable as I had remembered. This is exactly the same problem I had with the film Action Jackson, and was sorely disappointed. However, the scene where Carl Weathers jumps over a taxi did still make me mildly excited. Anyway, I digress. Nightmare Creatures has a good atmosphere and some nice sounds, but as it's on an N64, if you're going to play this on an original machine, then it will always feel like you are playing it wearing a permanently smeared pair of spectacles. And if you choose to play this with all the lights switched off, then I will continually worry for you. If you would like me to make some comparisons, I would say it's a kind of ghoulish version of Tomb Raider, but nowhere near as good. Far less puzzles and far less sense of wonderment and enjoyment. Already compromised by Nintendo's massive plate of a control pad, I spent many an evening just trying to work out the controls and continually facing my character into a brick wall during critical moments. It might be worth checking the PlayStation version out. After all, I will leave you to decide that for yourselves. The Simpsons Night of the Living Treehouse of Horror allows you to control many of your favourite Simpsons characters in this ghoulish adventure. In the first level, you control the familiar renegade rogue, Bart Simpson, as he wanders around a house, shooting at flying books and vacuum cleaners. You will meet more characters if you get through this quite difficult game. I've got myself into another toilet situation, which I don't seem to be able to get out of. What is it about toilets and games? That's better. I'm out doing what I do best, firing at vacuum cleaners. This is a mildly confusing game, but if you like The Simpsons, I think you will have a good time. I have no idea what you do in this game, because often that's more fun if you do not read instructions. I like to play my games living on the edge. I seem to have put myself in a laundromat. Oh, I've got myself stuck in a bubble. And what on earth are those trousers doing floating around? I don't seem to be able to do anything other than jump up and down in a manic fashion. This is no good. I am not enjoying this. No. Okay. How do I get out? Shame. Liked the film, one of Alec Baldwin's finest performances. Once I got completely fed up with always being stuck on that bloody boat on Leisure Suit Larry 2, I like to turn my attention to some full-on adventure game horror, continuing to access more adventures from the masters of the game, Sierra, and also one of the first games to utilise full-motion video technology. 1995 was a different time, and if you were lucky enough to have spent about £10,000 on a fully functioning personal computer with a suitably priced graphics card and sound card, then you were able to enjoy the postage stamp enjoyment of a real horror adventure, actually very unnerving in places, and despite the questionable acting, managed to pull out a fairly enjoyable romp. If you got bored with the plot, which is about some couple moving into a haunted mansion, you can have lots of fun making the creepy computer skeleton man say things in an amusing, dark and slow voice. This can provide hours of entertainment. My particular favourite being when you discover a $5 bill. Don't take my word for it. Please do try this for yourselves, and I am sure you will be pleasantly surprised. This game took over 2 years to develop and 4 months to film, and went massively over budget. An incredible amount of work went into this game, and it does show. And do not worry if you do not have your old personal computer with your overly expensive graphics and sound card, because this game can be enjoyed on popular platforms beginning with S and GOG, which means you will be able to play on your new hardware, an old game on your new computer system. Isn't technology wonderful? This horror point-and-click adventure was designed by Roberta Williams. I know that because it is written on the box. I have no idea what I'm doing with this game, by the way. I'm just wandering around the house trying to show you various clips to excite and entertain you. Oh, and now I think I've got myself trapped in a bed, having a terrible nightmare. You definitely know you're in a horror game adventure when you are in a dream sequence and the screen goes a bit wibbly. This is quite intense stuff. And in 1995, you would have lost your mind. I have been wondering for years what Phantasmagoria actually means. And I can tell you that it means a sequence of real or imaginary images like that seen in a dream. No, that dream sequence makes a lot more sense. These game designers are clever.
Oh, here, calm down. Wait here, alright?
There is a game called Snow Brothers. If you are not familiar with this game, it consists of two snow gentleman twins who have to build snowballs and jump on and off platforms, defeating monsters. This game is a horror version of Snow Brothers. Yes, a horror version, with added funky music. Please hammer buttons rapidly, create massive fireballs, throw massive fireballs at enemies, and rinse and repeat. They don't make games like this anymore. This game is absolutely king. I played this for so long, I forgot to go to the shops and purchase a packet of crumpets. Amusing titles aside for nocturnal urination, this absolute joy from Data East is a lot of fun. Think Final Fight with Zombies. Yes, Final Fight with Zombies. There is the usual mind-numbingly confusing introduction with some zombies and a man with metal arms. But do not let that put you off in this 3-button basher. You have the usual assortment of character choices. And let's get this show on the road. I don't know why a big massive gold fan has dropped me off, but nevertheless... Oh, I seem to have already set off my special move. Oh no, I've done it again. Don't quite know why he's got a magical ice special move, but hey, we'll go with it. And for some reason this bloke does not seem to be able to punch at all. But there are other characters, so please do not panic. But this guy can only seem to kick. So don't pick Jake. There's something quite exciting about trying unreleased games. Games that never made it to market. games that would never make it under the Christmas tree, to be unwrapped in a suitably comfortable pyjama set, to then play for the next 7 hours, successfully avoiding any contact with any family members. This game makes wandering around a forest, not knowing what you're doing, as exciting as it can. That was a nice effect. I still don't know where I'm supposed to be going, but then maybe this is part of it. Maybe this game was never fully completed. But hang on, I've been ported to another dimension. Ooh, and now I've got a bit of a shooting part. And now I'm blown to bits. Fun for 5 seconds. Our first Dracula game, but this time housed in Atari's fun, advanced battery draining machine, and all bathed in an eerie sepia to look creepy and rustic. This game does have some good atmosphere, but I would advise you to sit in a dark room to enjoy this terrifying adventure. And as I will now demonstrate for you, you can view cupboards with ease, and with the power of technology, you can also open and close cupboards. This game does get more interesting. This is just the beginning of your journey. But I would like to say that it was fairly easy to open and close cupboards and windows with the graphical user interface. Have fun with this one. What you will notice instantly about this game is the piercing Halloween theme that unfortunately just seems to repeat over and over and over. I think you have to rescue some kids and avoid Michael Myers, but it's incredibly hard to concentrate with this tune constantly going on. Cripes, there's even strobe effects to make it even more confusing. I have no idea what I'm doing with this. Okay, the controls are fairly clunky, as you would expect on an Atari 2600. Very, very difficult to control or have any sense. Oh, hang on, he's back. Oh my god. I've been beheaded. I've been beheaded on an Atari 2600. Oh my word. Okay, I'll just run past him. Ah, there's a kid. How do I get hold of him? No. Oh. Ah, an implement. No, I've been beheaded again. Oh, this game is so frustrating. Right, pick up. There is only one button on the Atari. I'm trying them all. Oh, and I've been beheaded again. This is painful. This is the very definition of pain. Avoid this game, please. This game has been reviewed numerous times by people a lot more qualified than myself, but as it's Halloween, it's the law to feature this horrendously horrible horror game. I have no idea what I'm doing in this game, but you can move about, you can throw things, and you can even hop on a boat and row to your heart's content to try and save children and avoid Mr. Jason Voorhees. My friend recently played this game too, and he instantly got stuck in one of the forest areas and could not get out for ages, and the garish countdown music kept blasting out. It was a very funny situation at the time, but my friend said he would never play this game ever again, and I am going to agree with him. No idea what the title means, but it has something to do with a haunted mansion, And as it's on the Virtual Boy, we get treated to everything being bathed in a warm and deep red glow that gives you a false sense of being constantly warm. This intro is fairly terrifying. I think Innsmouth has something to do with the American author H.P. Lovecraft. I wonder if that is connected to the title of this game. There's some subliminal Darren Brown stuff going on here with some monsters. That is quite unnerving. I think this is a bit of a maze game then. Okay, well, let's go for it. And first up seems to be a small egg that I've picked up. Oh no, it's an orb. That's disappointing. Okay, am I moving or not? The animation and graphics don't always make it clear how I am moving. No. Oh, I seem to have picked up a... Oh, and what on earth is that? That is quite unnerving. Oh, back it up, back it up. How do I use my crosshair? I have no idea. No, I don't want the map now. I want to get out of the way of this horrendous monster. Oh, I'm dead. Okay. I don't know if I want to rejoin that game. I'm not sure how that made me feel. I think I feel a bit funny. Let's try something else. House of the Dead 2 is a classic game. A classic arcade game that translates brilliantly to the Dreamcast. It's a classic. Do you hear me? It's a classic. House of the Dead 2 is classic. Classic rain effect, classic animation, classic deaths, classic reloading, classic story, classic zombies, classic guns, classic. Why are clocks sinister? There is something about a ticking clock that can strike fear, or just remind you of when your next cheeky little lunchtime snack is due. But nevertheless, clocks feature in this game. There's one ticking right now for this intro, and it's called Clock Tower. Clock Tower is a survival horror point-and-click adventure game for the Super Famicom, published by Human Entertainment. This is the first installment in the Clock Tower series, and many of its influences are taken from the works of the Italian horror film director Dario Argento, apparently most notably the film Phenomena. I haven't seen that film, but maybe I should. The unnerving flickering on this game I don't think should be happening. I think that's part of my emulation device, but it is making the atmosphere a little bit more creepy as I wander around this massive house. Again, like most of these games, I have not read the instructions and I cannot read Japanese, so we're probably in for a difficult time. But it is a very atmospheric game from what I can gather, and the graphics are incredibly impressive. Lots of doors, lots of walking in and out of doors. Oh, but hang on. What's this? Poor Anne. Death by the hands of a small chap with massive scissors. Oh no, he's coming for me now. Oh. Bit brutal. Dead end. You're telling me. Welcome to the unusual world of the Intellivision. I think I have to grab this yellow gun and shoot bats, spiders, and what I presume to be that ghostly man who was shivering in the corner, in what I think is supposed to be a dark and mysterious cave. This has to be the most sedate maze game I have ever played. It's just like Pac-Man, but with all the fun taken out of it. The controls are incredibly clunky, slow to respond, and cause you to frequently be frozen or facing the wrong way. Almost as much fun as being hit in the face with 15 ice cubes. I've never owned an Intellivision, and after this particular escapade, I never will. Yes, Ghost and myself destroyed the Daddy Mac of the PlayStation horror mantle, Resident Evil, complete with amusingly bad acting and doors that take forever to open with an unnerving clicking sound that years later you discovered this was to conveniently give the PlayStation more time to load the next scene. Move your stilted male or female counterpart around a dilapidated mansion and fight gruesome zombies to your heart's content. I would never have thought of putting balls and nightmares together, but that's exactly what Sega have decided to treat us to with this very peculiar game indeed. And it looks like I'm on the set of Teen Wolf. Yup, some cinematic wolf ball dunking action has happened. It does not help that there is some constant flickering, which makes it difficult to see who you're actually controlling and who you are supposed to be passing the ball to, despite there being an arrow above your head. I just seem to be randomly firing balls in any old direction. I suppose it's not bad for Sega's 8-bit box of tricks, but I think it's still a game destined to give you genuine nightmares. Never owned a Commodore 64 back in the day. I was always a BBC micro man. Not a tiny man, but the owner of the black and red monolith that was the British Broadcasting Corporation microcomputer. I remember being very impressed with the C64's graphics and being quite jealous of my good friend's C64 as he played his arcade renditions of such classics as Outrun and Operation Wolf, whilst I was left to attend to my book, The BBC Micro, an expert guide by Mike James. If I had have owned a C64, I am not sure that I would have had Nightbreed as my first choice. Based on the Clive Barker film of the same name, involving mutants, serial killers and vigilantes, all good ingredients to create the perfect horror pancake. Published by Ocean Software, who were no strangers to taking any popular film and turning it into a bog-standard platform adventure, controlling your favourite recognisable actor and miniaturising them into half-recognisable pixels for you to enjoy. This is the action game. There was an adventure game, but this is action. I'm controlling a man of action, and I can tell you, I am not having any fun. Bring back Mike James. There are many iterations of Splatterhouse across the console superhighway, but this one takes the edge as the main character who is not Jason Voorhees, but looks remarkably similar to him, is wearing a red mask. Not a white mask, a red mask. So it cannot be Jason Voorhees. Walk along, pick up a stick, and smash zombie creatures to bits. Rinse, repeat, and enjoy the rest of your day. It has a very accurate arcade difficulty level to this game, and that means it's incredibly hard. Oh, I've impaled myself. Technically our second appearance of the Dracula Man, and a very enjoyable find indeed. This time you control a miniaturized cartoon Dracula chap, and it's just the sort of game I like. Simple. Literally, you just have to jump and hit the monster 3 times before he reaches the top of the screen. Although it is very easy to get carried away and forget about the monsters and just race all the way up to the top. But I urge you not to do this. You must hit the monster 3 times. This game was included as part of the PSP Minis range, which launched on October 2009 for PSP and PSP Go. These games were a lot less memory, and they were smaller, cheaper, and for download only. You may be asking yourself, can I really have this much fun by making a small Dracula man jump continually upwards and try to hit a monster as you go? You most definitely can. Oh, I'm not doing too good at this. It's okay, I'll get my eye in, don't you worry. This is going to be my time, I can feel it. Here we go. I've managed it. Beautiful. Just the sort of game to play on the sofa with a warm woolly blanket over you and a mug of green tea, full to the brim. This game is not your usual run-of-the-mill platformer with recognisable character from your favourite film or TV series. This is a very refreshing look at how you can do a horror game, starring the classic Harry Polterguy. You're in a house, you're a ghost, and you have to scare people to their wits' end. How do you know you're doing this? Well, there is a scare meter, and what more can you ask for in a horror game? This is a lot of fun. I'm not sure of the lastability of this game, but I'm having far too much fun by floating around trying to scare this gentleman in a sharp and snazzy suit. What does this button do? Is he getting scared yet? Oh, I've disappeared into the floor. How did I do that? No, he's still calm. Oh, here we go. Once he sees the burning carpet of hell, hopefully he will be terrified. You can jump into all sorts of furniture and the dartboard. God, this is great fun. Oh, yeah, that's got to get him going. Yeah, he's going up to medium. Spikes in a sofa will always do that, and an eyeball in the dartboard. Cracking. I am going to fully recommend this game because it is total fun, and that's what you need. Horror and fun mixed together makes horror fun. The grisly and eerily sounding Dark Seed. This game boasts a dark world element, which is based on artwork by H.R. Geiger. I think this is a very fun and critical fact. We're going to join Mike Dawson in his new house. Exciting.
That sure was some nightmare. It even left me with a monster headache.
Mike Dawson looks a bit like Bob Carolgees. Yes,
Boy, my head hurts.
he does. But no sign of Spit the dog in this game, as you wander around a creepy looking bedroom, controlling a man who is constantly reminding you that he has a bad head, and no sign of pain relief anywhere. God, he's getting a bit annoying actually. Well, is this his house? No, it's not his house, as this is a horror game. This is his mansion. Why doesn't he know where his own medication cabinet is? Oh, I don't know. Let's just have a bit of a wander. No. Oh, he's not. Oh, he's got an old trench coat. Oh, the phone's ringing. Oh, I don't know. Oh, hang on. I've got it. Maybe he needs a good shower. That might sort his head out. He's still complaining. Come on then, off you go. No, forget about the pipes. Let's get you into the shower. Okay, that should do it. How's that? Feeling better? No. His head still feels like it's going to explode. Still moaning. Have a nap then. Don't have time to take a nap. Of course you don't. This has reminded me to get out my H.R. Geiger postcard book. Time to see if the Spectrum can provide us with a seriously spooktacular experience. No music, just some horrible clicking sounds as you dispatch bats with your broomstick, which gets rather yawnsome very rapidly. It looks nice and colourful though. But does good colour make a good game? No. No, it doesn't. Oh my word, what a terrible noise. This game went by a number of different titles, depending on its area of release. Tale of the Dream Mansion in Japan, and the confusingly titled Yumemi, I've probably got that terribly wrong, Mystery Mansion in Europe. I only recently discovered this game when searching on my arcade machine, and had never previously heard anything about it. I can't decide if that is a good thing or not. Well, we're treated here to some lovely grainy footage of what seems to be some nice flowers and grass or weeds. Do remember this is 1994, so this I'm sure would have blown your socks off back in the day. Originally, I thought this game had ripped off the classic Resident Evil, but this is not actually possible, as Resident Evil was released 2 years after this game. Can I bear to make it through this introduction as I crawl through the grass or weeds and the odd flower. Well, there is the moon there, so there must be something spooky up ahead. And yes, if you can bear this introduction this long, you will be treated to the entrance of yet another mansion. I do like those purple flowers though. Why do I think this was originally ripped off from Resident Evil? I'll tell you why. Take a look at these doors and the red carpet and hall, complete with ticking clock, which immediately gets you in the Resident Evil mood and almost immediately gets you incredibly annoyed. But it's already different, as you open the doors much quicker and in real time. You're supposed to buy some nonsense about siblings coming across a butterfly whilst exploring the grassy field outside and ignoring warnings about ghosts turning people into butterflies, which then leads the main characters to follow the butterfly to this eerie mansion to explore. Despite its graininess, this game does manage to capture some atmosphere, and I've had some mild entertainment wandering around strange big red light infused rooms. I am not sure whether I will continue to play this game or not, but it did pique my interest a little bit. But I do not want to hear any more ticking clocks or see any more red carpet for quite some time after playing this game. I want to have a clock-free zone. Thank you. Oh, I have good memories of this game. When I was a lot younger, a group of my friends stayed in a caravan and played this into the early hours, until we nearly had a full bodily fluid catastrophe. This game has some solid atmosphere, and starts as it means to go on, by sending a little bit of a shiver down your spine. We have some bloke, a church, stained glass windows, lightning, terrifyingly sinister music, and now some fire. But not just fire, because as you gaze more and more into the fire, you see that something isn't quite right, and there seems to be something coming out of the fire. You can also get this game from a website beginning with GOG, so you can play it on your new computer. Just look at that. A goblin man. No, Elvira is not in this game. That was used for marketing. And where do we start our adventure? In a pub. This game is an absolute cracker. I promised you minimal Dracula, and this is our final Dracula game. But I can tell you now, this already seems a bit too standard in my book. I'm just controlling a well-dressed gentleman down the River Thames and jumping. It is mind-numbingly boring, and I would rather stare at a blank piece of paper in silence for the time it would take me to complete this game, which hopefully would not be more than 58 minutes and 7 seconds. Based upon the Japanese horror film of the same name, and third installment in the Ju-On series, this game tries to squeeze the big screen terror into your formerly family-friendly Wii console. My good friend misheard me when I told him I was playing this game, and he thought I was playing some sort of horror flight simulator instead of fright simulator. Once we had established that my friend did not need an immediate auditory solution, and paused for some light laughter, I got to work in playing this rather creepy and atmospheric game. What's really good about this game is that a friend or enemy can take command of your secondary Wiimote and use this to make additional scary elements appear on screen, whilst you are desperately trying not to lose all your bodily functions in one go as you edge around a dark and abandoned room with a very small torch. If you are wondering what happens when your torch runs out of battery, you die. I would advise you to play this in a pitch black room. Get it as pitch black as possible. If you want the full horror experience, then please do speak to a suitable friend or family member to take command and control of any additional frights, and ensure that you have sensibly done your allotted weekly clothes washing. Monster House is a game based on the 2006 animated film of the same name. I have not seen the film because I didn't like the look of it, and this is my first exposure to the game. It has been described in other circles as Resident Evil for kids. I do like Resident Evil, but I am not a kid, so I am not sure if this game is really for me. I have no idea what this plot means because I've not seen the film, and I'm not really sure if I am interested, because I am sure it is about a haunted mansion and some ghosts to get rid of. But what I am interested in is this a good GameCube game? Is this a good GameCube horror game? I think this game was fairly slated when it first came out, so things do not bode well. But just because someone else has said that a game isn't good, does not mean that you cannot enjoy it, because it is about how you feel. Let's give it a whirl.
Now I know how taco meat feels.
That makes two of us. Shh! I don't think it knows we're still alive.
The game does seem to get you straight into the action, and there is some element of puzzle solving, but I have been told on good authority that these are often the pushing a crate or pulling a crate variety, so it shouldn't be too taxing. These are just the type of puzzles I like. Simple. You do feel like a bit of a Ghostbuster in this game, and the controls have seemed quite pleasant so far for the Gamecube. This game is also available on multi-platforms, including the PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo DS. I think that this would be probably the best version on the Gamecube graphically, but I'm no expert in console graphic technology. What I do know is the Nintendo Gamecube has a special place in my heart, but I cannot help feeling that I would rather be playing Luigi's Mansion, because I would much rather be controlling Luigi getting rid of ghosts. I was recently recommended this by a couple of my good friends, who urged me to buy this for 2 reasons. One, that it was only the price of a bag of nuts, and 2, that it was very spooky and went to very dark places. That was enough for me, so here we are, controlling a small boy through a creepy looking forest. I think this is going to be a very interesting adventure indeed. The game is the successor to the company Playdead's 2010 Limbo, which had very similar gameplay. I have literally just got this game, so I don't know too much more about it, and I don't want to. I want to explore the forest and control this small chap as I go through the darkness. I've been told that this game can be completed fairly comfortably in one sitting, so I will be giving that a try. That has been a very interesting look at 31 horror games on 31 systems. I hope you sleep well tonight.